Welcome to the Tuning In podcast, where we talk alignment, intuition, and our internal guidance system. We cover woo-woo topics in an approachable and practical way. I'm your host, Dana Evans of Alignful.com. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Tuning In podcast. This is the final episode of 2020. Oh my goodness. And this week's episode is short and sweet because I'm just going to fill you in on what I've been up to a little bit and then share some exciting things coming in January. So I'm on a little cleanse right now, and it is not the typical kind of cleanse that you hear about. That definitely didn't feel aligned for me this year, but this is more of a skin cleanse. And every once in a while, so I'm very keen on using clean products for my skin, and I'm a consultant with Beauty Counter. I love their products, and I'm just an advocate for safer, cleaner skincare products, but ones that also are high performing. But beyond that, every once in a while, I feel called to just strip down everything to the bare minimum because I feel like my skin needs a little reset. So what I've decided to do is only use oils on my skin for the next couple of weeks. And I have some new oils from the company is called Living Libations, and they're out of Canada. And just like really delicious buckhorn, I think, oil and oil cleansing and rose hydrosol. That's all I'm really using on my face right now. So that product, and then my other product is Primally Pure. So those are the two companies, along with one other brand, which is called Banyan Botanicals. So those are my three companies that are like the simplest, most natural skincare that I can do. And for me, it is kind of like doing a body cleanse where I eat pretty well, but every once in a while I need to go like a little bit deeper to give my body an opportunity to reset, right? And get back into its own flow. And that's how I feel about with my skincare. So I was noticing the other day, I was like, man, I feel like I haven't been really focusing on massage and lymphatic system and really caring for my skin. Like I do my FaceTime routines, like, and I put body moisturizer on, but I haven't been caring for my skin in the way that I want to. So I felt that intuitive nudge of like, okay, it's time to step back, to slow down, and to reset. So what that's been looking like for me is, as I mentioned, I'm only doing oil cleansing, and I have both an oil cleanser from Primally Pure. And by the way, I work with them. And so if you use code Alignful10, you can get 10% off your purchase. I am obsessed with their products. They're out of California. It's a woman-owned company, really small, really beautiful, clean products. So I have their oil cleanser, and then I have the Living Libations one. And to oil cleanse, it's such a wonderful process. Like all you do is you massage the oil into dry skin. Even if you have makeup on, it doesn't matter. You just massage that in, and then you steam it with a warm washcloth. And then you take that warm washcloth and you wipe the oil off. And the idea behind oil cleansing is like attracts like. So the oil will help pull out oil and dirt from your skin. And I have to say, it is a really soothing process, especially if you do it before bed. Like that little mini moment of cleansing your skin in this way, it's kind of more spa-like, is very soothing. And so I always like kick and scream because I don't feel like washing my face before bed. And then I do it and I'm like, oh, it just helps me transition to bedtime. So then after I do the oil cleanser, I spray on a toner, and I'll either use the rose hydrosol from Living Libations. Actually, it's not Living Libations. I don't know what it is, but it's just a really simple rose spray, or I have from Primarily Pure the Everything spray and their geranium spray. So whatever I feel like scent-wise, I just spritz that well into my face, and then I either add my face oil or a Blue Tansy Tallow face lotion, which is from Primarily Pure, and that one's a lot thicker and like a much more dense moisturization. So sometimes I use both the regular oil and sometimes I use that with the face cream, the Blue Tansy Tallow face cream. And that's really simple, right? And then I sleep on it. And then in the morning I wake up and I do dry brushing. I got a little face dry brush. Oh my gosh, it is so amazing. And so with that, I just do some sweeps of the dry brush on my face to help get debris, right, and dead skin sloughed off, and also to increase circulation. And then I splash my face with water and I spritz it, and then I add an oil. Again, one of the two oils that I'm using. And then to double down, I've been using a gua sha, a face stone, to massage my face, or just using my hands to massage the oil in. Really simple, right? So I've simplified my routine of like what products are going on my face and what it takes. But what I've amped up is the massage, the dry brushing, right? To help really stimulate below the surface of the skin. And it takes that time, but it's also this really nurturing, grounding, loving process that I'm doing. And it helps flush out the lymph nodes, right? It helps to release those. It helps with circulation. It helps with just like breaking up the tissue in your face. If you haven't done face massage before, let me tell you, we hold a ton of tension in our faces. So doing that little bit of massage is really restorative. And that's it. So that's this skincare for my face. And then for my body, same thing, right? Remember, our skin is our biggest organ. So what you put on your skin gets absorbed. And in places, it's like, I don't remember, but it's high, like 60% of what you put on your skin gets absorbed. That's a lot of potential chemicals, okay? And a lot of potential nutrients if you're using really good products. And then in your underarms and your groins, it's like 80%. So you want to be really careful there. So for my body, I'm taking the exact same approach: simplify and deeply nurture. So my favorite practice is dry brushing. So again, just like I do with my face brush, I start at my feet and I do slow, like little sweeping strokes up my limbs, and then you do circles on your joints. So my knees, my hips, my shoulders, and my elbows and wrists and ankles. You do circular brushing. And then you move all the way up your body, brushing toward the heart. And that alone is like really stimulating. Like my skin gets kind of red because there's like all that circulation coming in. Then after that, I take my oil from Banyan Botanicals, and that's an Ayurvedic herb-infused oil to help balance the Vata energy, okay? So winter is like cold and dry, and there's a lot of change. It can upset the Vata energy. So that oil helps with that. So then the same directionality that I use to dry brush, I massage the oil into my body. So I'm really taking time to work the oil in, massage my muscles, and again, bring circulation and movement into all the muscles of my body, including my belly, my hips, the neck. Oh, so much in the neck. And it's a really beautiful process. From there, I either step into a bath or I just get into a hot shower. And with either way, the steam and the water opens up the pores of your skin and the oil absorbs. I do not use soap after I do dry brush and oil massage, only the important parts. But I don't soap my arms, my legs, because one, they're not really dirty, but two, that kind of defeats the whole point of oiling yourself. So you allow the steam, right, help all the oils absorb into your skin. And then you get out of the shower and pat dry, and you don't have to do anything. So it's like you've done the pre-work. You don't have to put moisturizer on after you shower because you did it before. And then I get all bundled up in warm clothes, and I add some of that same oil to the soles of my feet, and I massage into my feet and then put thick socks on. When I do this process before bed, it's like the best sleep ever. Having that dry brush, oil massage, warm shower or bath, and then massaging the oil into your feet and going to sleep is such a soothing way to end your day. And again, fewer products, but more intention and connection in the process. And then the other thing is, if I don't do the oil massage before the shower, I use the Primally Pure body butter. They have a whipped body butter, which is made with tallow, and it is so delicious. It's vanilla and peppermint, and it's a thicker whipped body butter. But again, there's just essential oils and tallow and like shea butter. And that same thing, I would do that though after my bath or shower, but I also apply that and massage it in so that it can really absorb. And that's it. I mean, it may have sounded a little complicated, but to say that is, in total, I'm using just like 3 products, right? Now I have a bunch of different variations of the products, but it's basically a body oil, a face oil, which also doubles as your oil cleanser, and then a spray, right? A moisturizing toner spray. And that's it. And then the massage tool, which is the gua sha or a face roller or just your hands. And then, of course, the dry brush for the face and the body. And I encourage you to just notice what your skin is up to. Now, our skin is also a representation on what's going on inside. So we can approach it from the inside, but we can also approach it from the outside. And in the winter, I often feel this nudge to like come back to earth, right? Products, right? Back to the oils, back to tallow, back to really simple products that are super nurturing. Because leading up to this transition, I was noticing even if I washed my face and moisturized at night, I was waking up with like kind of flaky skin, and I could see that. And so now I wake up and my skin is looking glowy and dewy and well moisturized. And it's just that shift, right? And when I'm only taking in really clean products, it's less for the liver to process. So it can work on caring for other toxins that it needs to clean out of my body so that my skin itself has more of a natural glow. Because the liver has time, right? It has time to work on what it needs to do. So that's what I'm up to. I don't know why it's not like a typical podcast episode, but I think it really goes in line with just my desire to slow down and to come back to self, right? This journey back to self. And part of that for me is returning the attention to my body. I think it's easy to get caught up in like, okay, got to get through the shower and then apply the moisturizer and just like go through the motions quickly so you can get on to the next thing. And instead, I'm being really intentional and slowing down a bit in that little process of my skincare, right? The way I care for my body and my face, and giving it a bit more love and attention with the best, simplest, cleanest organic products that I can do. And it's fun to witness the transformation, right, of my skin as I am paying more attention to it and giving it more love. It's really that simple. So that's me. That's how I'm ending the year. Slowing down, staying warm, going inward. I talked last week about caring for my home and that space. And now this week, it's really about caring for my body. And to me, that is really what closing out the year looks like. It looks like this return to self, this return of awareness and presence back to my body, my home, my energy. And I really, really feel grounded now that I'm doing this. And it's a really wonderful way to step into a new year. Usually I do either a podcast or an email or a post all about like closing out the year and setting intentions for the next year and releasing. But this year, I don't feel drawn to doing that. I've been doing so much releasing over the past 2 months that to me, it just feels like the most important thing is to feel really connected to myself, to feel really grounded and loving toward my body, and to feel really safe and connected within my home. And so that's my process this year. And I've been guided toward that, right? I've been guided to do that. And I follow the nudges, right? I follow the ebb and the flow. And all the minds out there they're saying, okay, how can I release 2020? And how can I set new goals for 2021? And my inner voice is just saying, just be here. Come back home and be present with us. And everything will unfold from this place. And that's what I'm doing. So I invite you to follow your own guidance and don't feel the pressure of what everyone else is doing to end the year. Allow yourself to tune in and listen to what is right for you. And in fact, the phrase that I'll invite you to do is deal, which is drop everything and listen. And that phrase came from my dear friend and fellow coach, Kimmy Morton. And she came up with that the other day. She texted me, oh my gosh, Jana, I know what I need to do. I just need to deal. And she said, that's what it means. And I'm like, oh my God, I need to use that. Where did that come from? She's like, I just came up with it. And the funny thing is, it's a perfect segue because January, I have some new things coming to the podcast. And part of it is I wanted to, you've been on this sloth journey with me, which is still continuing, the sloth experiment. It hasn't ended. I'm still evolving and transforming. And I've been taking you on the journey. However, I feel like the energy of this podcast has been maybe a little heavy because you've been riding these waves with me. And I felt inspired to infuse some fresh energy into the podcast. So stay tuned for January because Kimmy Morton and I are going to co-host 4 episodes for you in January. And I'm calling these cellular connections. This is what I'm calling the series, cellular connections, because Kimmy and I have been having some really amazing conversations lately. And when I talk to her, she helps vibe me up. Like she has really strong energy. She's a manifesting generator and she has really beautiful high vibe energy. And I, as a projector, reflect that energy back to her and amplify it. So together, we actually create a really wonderful container and space to share. And because of that, I was inspired to invite her to co-host a few episodes with me, and we're going to have these cellular connection conversations. We're going to talk about probably 4 different topics, but instead of it being an interview where I'm interviewing Kimmy on her expertise, it's just going to be, we're inviting you to participate in our conversation, right? We're inviting you to be a part of our conversation and to really get a taste of what it looks like to talk to people who have done the work, right? Who are doing their own releasing and looking at themselves and processing their emotions and really questioning their stories and their beliefs and what it looks like to be vulnerable and open and have really deep and inspiring conversations, because that's possible for everybody. And I feel like a lot of us are missing that component in our lives. It's easy to fall into a conversation rut where, you either are stuck talking about what's happening around you. So the weather, the election, COVID, the news, right? All of these really cerebral, superficial, in some ways, topics. And because we're so bombarded with that, sometimes we don't give ourselves the space to go deeper, right? The space to go beyond the surface. It's easy to just talk about news headlines all day. Well, I read this. Well, I read this. And I think this. And I think that. Here's my opinion on this. Here's your opinion. It's easy to talk about other people. Oh, well, she's doing this. She's doing that. But is it fulfilling? And what does it look like to go way beyond that surface level stuff, right? That we're exposed to all the time, that is really us just regurgitating what other people say, and really step into what we have to say. What does it look like to open that conversation of, what's your viewpoint? Like, where does that stem from? What beliefs have you uncovered that you are holding on to? Like, what's been holding you back? What's inspiring you? What lights you up and gets you so giddy? And so we'll do this in a few different ways by just openly discussing a few different topics, and ones that I think you guys will like. We haven't quite determined the topics yet. Those will float to us. So I am really excited to invite you, starting in January, to the Cellular Connection series. It's a 4-week series where Kimmy Morton and I will talk on the podcast, and it will be really amazing. I guarantee you. And just a little bio, Kimmy, I met her. She's a fellow Business by Design coach. She is a manifesting generator, and she lives in Hawaii. And she helps online business owners create more abundance and impact with less stress and more joy. Using science-based brain hacks, transformational coaching, and spiritual wisdom, Kimmy will help you have fun getting the right things done for a business that centers around your divine purpose, authentic self, and deepest desires. Oh, I've taken a couple of her programs. They're so aligned with me, and I think they'll also be aligned with you all. And I think Kimmy will be an aligning energy for you guys to experience as well. And you can find her on Instagram at Kimmy M, and her website is kimmymorton.com. So I am so excited for these high vibe conversations, the Cellular Connection series. I'm excited to bring Kimmy to you. I tell her that she's like my sage wisdom giver. I feel really safe and connected to her, and you would never know it, but she has like 2 teenagers, and whenever I talk to her, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's lived so many more lives than I have, even though I feel like we're the same age. And I really see her as someone who offers a lot of insight and wisdom in my life. And I want to invite you all into that conversation so you can take away some of those insights and wisdom for your life. So, Happy New Year. Take care of yourselves. I am sending you so much love. You are not alone. This is a beautiful culmination, and allow your guidance to take you where you need to go to close out the year. Don't allow what everyone else is doing to make you feel pressure to do things a certain way. If there's been any takeaway from this year, it's that slowing down, caring for ourselves, coming back home, and taking the journey to self, that is one of the most important things you can cultivate. And you can do that by tuning in, listening to your inner voice, dealing, dropping everything and listening, and just asking yourself, does this serve me? Or is this serving my ego? And you can make decisions from that space. So take care. I'm so excited for the next season of the Tuning In podcast. And as always, thank you for tuning in. I will see you in 2021. Thank you for joining me on another episode of the Tuning In podcast. As always, if this would resonate with anyone you know, please share the episode. You can follow along with my journey on Instagram at Dana_Evans, or find me on my website at alignful.com.